Alrighty, good morning. It is Monday, another week. I was just sitting, just before we started this meeting, I was sitting there and thinking and looking at the days and how they move. This is why it's so important to be deliberate about what you want to achieve at the beginning of every year, because what is so funny about life is that within literally a flash, a year's gone by, 2 years have gone by, 5 years have gone by, especially when you have kids, because you start to watch and see how those kids go. You know, what is so funny with life is that between the ages of 0 and 20, time crawls. Like, you can't wait to get to the next year. You can't wait to get, so the anticipation and the sense of being trapped is so real, and time feels like it's really slow. But once you just move out, get past your university and start real life, all of a sudden everything turns around. Before you know it, you're 30. Before you know it, you're 40. Before you know it, you're 50 like me. Before you know it, you're 60 and you're dead. So life flies by so quickly that unless one's deliberate about what they want to achieve, you could literally waste your whole life on very useless stuff. That's one of the reasons why Tuesday is such an important day, because that's when you have mindset change, which helps you kind of put your life and plan in order. But whatever the case, today's Monday, and Monday we are continuing that great series around the topic of the digital revolution. And I don't know if any of you guys ever heard of the Choluteca Bridge in the Honduras Republic in South America. We've talked a lot about the Choluteca Bridge here on this platform, but we are cognizant to the fact that we have a lot of new people that come on all the time. So there's always somebody who's never heard of the Choluteca Bridge. Now, it was a bridge built by the Republic in the 90s as an answer to their perennial hurricane problem. Now, a bridge that could withstand the strongest storms and remain intact. Well, they did achieve that goal, but something completely unexpected happened. The river through which the bridge crossed shifted 200 meters away. Yep, I'm not kidding. The hurricane did come, and yes, it was very powerful, and the bridge withstood, but the river shifted. And that is one of the most powerful lessons when it comes to change and its inevitability, and why whenever you solve any problem, you must solve to adapt rather than solve to fix, okay? I shan't dedicate an entire, lesson around that, but our goal today is to complete the list of sectors affected by the disruptive nature of the digital age, and disruption will happen. Don't take note of that. Whatever you do in life, disruption will happen. The only thing that matters here is how you adapt to disruption, okay? In previous lessons, we studied a number of sectors that have undergone drastic transformation as a result of the disruption caused by the digital age revolution, which included business to business and business to consumer platforms. So for instance, already Ulendo, Yango, Uber, and many others have completely transformed that sector. I can assure you, as a futurist, as somebody who studies these things, the next disruption coming is in the bus section or bus sector. And all it takes is one really brave businessman with some steel down there, and they go in there and they do a crazy investment. And then they will transform the whole African transport sector by disrupting one place. And it's going to happen, okay? The other one is the mobile phone industry. And you know very well that shift was to smartphones with open operating systems like the Android and iOS. Then, which we spoke with about driverless vehicles, the mobile network operators, which we talked about, no profits and traditional calls, internet and SMS. Now, these are sectors that have been disrupted as I'm speaking to you. And these are the results, okay? We spoke about cyberspace, online publications, cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, and now the biggest one, the metaverse. And these things are disrupting entire business sectors beyond measure. And that's why we are talking about this. Okay, then there's the energy sector, the shift from fossil fuels to renewable energies, which is solar, wind, and biofuels. I mean, that's still kind of limping, but it's definitely going there. Here in Africa, we have the massive advantage because, to be honest, hydroelectricity is still, especially for Zambia, an absolutely powerful alternative that still is feasible. But there's a lot of, investment going into solar. There's a lot of, expanding of the city and the grid, under ZESCO is just not enough. So a lot of people are going to shift to solar, shift to biofuels, and that's going to be a disruption on its own. The insurance sector, we talked about non-traditional players are partaking. So we're saying banks and mobile network operators, people that, not people, entities that had absolutely nothing to do with banking are there. Think about the microfins. On the mobile networks, they now offer, loans on the network. And what does that mean? That means, again, the same thing. These are non-traditional operators. Insurance, something unheard of. Banks are offering insurance. I mean, that's so funny. So you look at it and you're like, okay, a bank was not traditionally an insurance company, but they know they sit on a massive platform of customers. And so they can easily leverage with an insurance company and jump on board. So as I'm speaking to you, here in Zambia, you got ABSA, they've got into banking, into insurance. You got Stanbic, they've gone into insurance. Stanbic is under Standard Group. So they've gone into insurance. Those are the two I'm aware of, but I know there's definitely more. I just haven't gone to look there. I'm sure FNB may have an insurance component within their customer base. And so you're seeing companies that just like the mobile money companies are in money lending and fintech. These are areas they never were traditionally operating in, but the mobile operators now are really riding on mobile money. And you see how much that has affected the banks to such an extent that you see a visible difference. How many ATMs do you have today as compared to mobile money agents? Think about it. And then agencies. So that's where you have your Zanaco Express. That's where you have your FNB mobile agent. All these banks are now moving into that space as well in order to leverage that as a means to, get their money out there, and they're going into partnership. So we're seeing a total shift. And today I want to go further and show you even more scary stuff, okay? But it's not scary. It's stuff just to waken you up and to make you realize that we really are living in a very dynamic world, and anything can disrupt your industry. When you think that, oh, we got this together, we're making money, all of a sudden something comes and completely disrupts and destroys anything that was there before. And you can't blame anyone. I mean, taxi drivers were complaining about Yango and Ulendo, but the truth of the matter is it's technology. And remember, everything is driven on the one king of today. I always tell people that in the past, cash was king. Okay, so cash was king. Today, my friends, it's convenience. I'm going to take, for instance, Nairobi, Kenya. Nairobi, Kenya has got one of the busiest, and I'm talking about busiest platforms when it comes to the CBD. No one goes to the CBD unless you have really good reasons to go there. The traffic is a nightmare. In short, going from any of the suburbs in Nairobi to get into the CBD can take you minimum 2 hours. It's just like Dar es Salaam. So because of these situations, something happened, like what's going on in Zambia. A lot of the motorcycle guys just got into deals with many mini-mart shop owners and even the big supermarkets like OK. They don't have ShopRite over there, but they have OK supermarkets and Uchumi and what have you. And so they went into deals. You can go, you've got people that offer them as an aggregate service. Do you need anything that you need to get from the main shops and you can't go there yourself? So you just go onto the app, choose the things you want, pay for them, and then they connect to a courier brings to you. I mean, it's become so popular now in Nairobi. Most people just don't go to the CBD unless they have something serious to go there for. A lot of the shopping, a lot of these small things, the motorcycles have really become the convenience, and Lusaka is slowly shifting in that direction. Now, when these things happen, there is new opportunities, but there's also disruption to old models. And that's why everybody's got to be so sharp when it comes to disruption and what it'll do. So let's quickly look at some more today. I hope to finish this subject and then move to something else. So there's diagnosis and consultancy. This, people like myself are in the consultancy industry. So I'm already looking at ways and means of relying on AI because that's where things are headed. Okay, take law, for instance. IBM's Watson can give legal advice 20% more accurately than a human lawyer can. I mean, let me say that again. IBM's Watson, that's a program, can give legal advice 20% more accurately than a human lawyer can. And if you are studying law, the only way you will succeed is to specialize. And unfortunately, within a generation, new students may need another profession. And I'm not kidding, because all the judges will be doing is relying on AI. AI will give a diagnosis, and then they go with that. Customers can also be able to get that advice because they will do. So in the beginning, a lot of lawyers obviously will invest in buying these software, but you know how technology is. With time, it becomes lower and lower. You will have a portal sitting at the equivalent of the Zambia Law Association or whatever they have, LAS. And that's what's going to advise. All somebody would do is just get all the 36, or is it 40 volumes of the laws of Zambia into that monster, and it'll do the job. I mean, that's where we're headed, ladies and gentlemen. And here's something. The reason why new students may need another profession is because of the strides being made in artificial intelligence. Okay, as we speak, AI is improving by the day, by the hour. That's how scary it is. And with work being carried out by Elon Musk's company Tesla, Neuralink, the possibility of a human being becoming jacked into the internet is becoming more and more of a reality within our generation. So in other words, by the time my daughter is getting married, we may have the first human and machine interactions through the portals that will be either implanted into people's brains, or nanotech will have improved so much that all they do is give you a jab, and then all those little nanobots will go and then configure themselves around your brain, and you become jacked to the internet. So we may be seeing that. Okay, we may be seeing that very soon. And the implications are so serious that science even predicts what may be termed a singularity. Ray Kurzweil, one of the founders of Google, did a whole write-up and a whole teaching around the idea of AI and the singularity and the changes that are coming with AI. I mean, these things are not science fiction, ladies and gentlemen, they are real. And these are things that are going to happen. It's not they may happen, no, they will happen. AI today is already doing crazy stuff. And so this is why you realize that some of these fields, like the one I'm dealing with, which is diagnosis and consultancy, may change. Another area that is drastically changing and shall be impacted is the health sector. Health diagnosis is changing as we speak. Quantum analysis, this is a special kind of analysis, is improving exponentially. Quantum analyzers are machines that are able to utilize the body's biosignals in order to accurately give readings and diagnosis, okay? These are quite detailed in that they can read and give various data from your blood circulatory system, cardiovascular readings, neural networks, alimentary and digestive systems, various organs, skin, brain, immunity, and so on and so forth, and many others. And then can be well diagnosed with the right AI to give a fairly accurate diagnosis of diseases present and even suggest treatment regimen. Those of you who watch Star Trek, okay, those of you who watch Star Trek like myself, I'm a Trekkie, you know that in Star Trek, there is that idea that you can go to the sick bay and you can be scanned by the medical analyzer and it can give the recommended treatment. That idea was science fiction. You know, when Gene Roddenberry came up with Star Trek back in the 60s. Today, now that's not too far from science fiction at all, because you have MRI machines that can scan you and see what's going on in your body. But what is interesting is all you need now is a merger of these technologies. MRI on one end, basic diagnostic tools and probes, which are non-invasive, by the way, on the other, and the AI to diagnose accurately based on data. Now, if there's one thing right now that many did not have many years back, it's data. Every single day that you and I are using these gadgets, we are accumulating data for these monsters, and they are getting more and more information, and using pure probability, they are able to diagnose fairly accurately. I'm talking way beyond human beings by diagnosing the data. And the data, statistically speaking, will give them a fairly accurate way to predict what's going on. And I already told the story the other time about how Amazon and Google were able to tell that somebody in a household is pregnant based on their change in diet and purchase habits. Simple. It's amazing. They were able to understand that whenever people are pregnant, there is a shift in hormones. Those hormones lead to certain cravings. Those cravings lead to certain type of food. And when they noticed that a member of the particular household had shifted the food, they started sending in magazines and information around pregnancy. The owners were shocked. They went to ask why this is going on. And when they did an analysis, they discovered that one of the daughters in the home was pregnant without her knowledge. Imagine these AI, without any probe, without any direct contact, were able to tell statistically that when people shift from this type of food to this food, when they start having these kind of cravings, it could be an indication of pregnancy. Now that, my friend, is what big data can do. So you got to understand that this is very, very astounding. Okay, purchase histories, all these things can be noted by machines, and they're able to tell. So you have to understand that AI is becoming accurate by the day. And I do not put away completely the idea that much of this diagnosis we'll do today may make a lot of people irrelevant, because with consultancy, it's about AI. And AI learns. So the more you teach it, the more you show it what to do, the more accurate it becomes. The next sector, which is completely changing, is the banking sector. Banking is now seriously moving away from the model where you had large workforces to service the population. Instead, internet banking, which is where you see all the banks have moved, ATMs, which are also shifting and changing, self-service banking, which is for me the one that's coming, are the new model that is replacing the older model. This means, listen to me, more convenience for the user and threatens the personnel more, as we will see the teller virtually disappear. I am not going to be surprised if in the next 10 to 15 years, you'll be walking into a branch and all you face are machines, and you interface with screens and voice activation and typing. That's what will happen in the future. The AI, just like, when you go on when you go customer service, many companies have put up that robot that talks to you, very annoying, and it gives you, like, if you want to talk, press 1. If you want to do this, press 2. That's what's going to be happening. And then, because remember, the next thing that's going right now, I assure you, unless otherwise, is fiat currency, the actual cash. That's going to go. And so because cash is going to go, I mean, there will be just very little remaining, but that's going to go. So when that goes, it means essentially you're not going into the bank to deposit money. You get it? You're not going into the bank to deposit money, because you will have very specific reasons to go to the branch, and many of those can be sorted out by a human through an interface. And so the branch of the future will look like that. In short, what I'm saying is branches that used to employ 20, 30 people will drop to 10, and they will run perfectly. Now that's scary. Okay, so within the next 15 years, ATMs will morph into self-service bank base and won't resemble what we know today. But what we should be even more alert on is the absolute phasing out of fiat currencies, like I said, for central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. They're really trying to push that. Different from crypto, please. And this will completely change the banking terrain as we know it. And when you couple this with smarter apps, there will come a time when even opening a bank account won't require that one go into the bank to do so. The banks will make more money with fewer people. So if you're in the banking industry, what I'm trying to tell you is that your job is on the line. Yes, your job is on the line, unless you become extremely specialized. And what we're seeing that is going to happen in the future, well, individuals that are multifaceted, versatile people who understand how to handle so many of these very, very interesting and versatile kind of scenario. So this change is coming and you've got to be really prepared for it. Let's go on. There's another sector again that has been completely disrupted. This is the electronic platforms, okay? We are already seeing this in the traditionally slow and bureaucratic places like Zambia Revenue Authority, PACRA, ZPPA, NAPSA, and even the government, where e-business, e-registration, e-payslips are changing the landscape. As we speak, ZICTA has been at work with all the leading stakeholders, and finally created a switch that allows all the technologies to see each other. And this will be coupled with what will be a super identity number that is given at birth and will be unique and the key life identity throughout. And the implications are that within a generation, you will be able to initiate all your needs from your phone or computer anywhere in Zambia. What am I saying? ZRA, we can tax. You do all your taxes online. It's completely integrated. And very soon, it will even integrate to your bank. It'll integrate to your mobile money. It's already integrated, but what I mean is it will see. So there'll come a point where when you're doing your declarations, it will already have an assumptive figure, and all you do now is to work backwards to prove what is your money and what isn't your money. That's where we're headed. So right now they are trying to get people to pay for withholding tax, for rentals, and that's going to change, my friend. Within the next 1 to 2 years, the systems will completely see every coin you get. Remember, the national registration card is going to morph into a new super card. The only reason the national registration card is still what it is today is because of politics. That's it. Technology already exists to create the super card. Those of you who are on ART, that's the oral antiretroviral treatment, you know that they have cards, and when you go, they put that card in there, it's got a chip, and they can read all your details, all your medical history. So the idea of having a little book, like in the past where you had a little book, you go to church, that's gone. So you don't need that anymore. And so what that means is you can actually stick that. So when they have that card is going to transform into the Super NRC, and the Super NRC will be able to connect everyone to everything. So when you're getting your driving license, you won't have to say, produce your ID, just that card, and they will know who you are. And then remember, there's facial recognition software, there's fingerprinting software, there's all sorts of things already at play. They will be able to keep a very powerful database of everybody. So when you want a passport, you're no longer going to go fill up any form. You just enter, indicate interest, and then marry, and they merge. You stick your card, it merges. The information goes straight to the relevant authority. They verify who you are, and your passport will be ready. You just need to go for a physical interview, or which can also be done through Zoom, but most of them will be physical because of security reasons. But as I'm speaking to you right now, ZPPA, the e-government tendering platform, has gone mandatory. So meaning all new companies now have to do their tendering through that platform. That's why we put up a workshop around the same issue. I'll share that's not here, but we are putting up a workshop to guide people on how to actually use that platform. This is where things are going, ladies and gentlemen. You run a company, you're not escaping any of this stuff. This is the reality. ZRA will be able to know how much you make even as a private company. The only two reasons why the smart card is not going to happen and the cash will not fade so easily is because of crime. Now, what criminals do is they're always a step ahead of the authorities. That's why crypto is such a big deal. Crypto is still generally independent of regulation. And so a lot of crime can be paid for using crypto. That's why crypto's big. Hello, somebody. That's the whole purpose behind crypto. Crypto was created to help people hide transactions. So criminals and individuals that don't want Big Brother to have a look at what they're doing, they will pay using crypto, Bitcoin, and all the various alternate coins that are out there in terms of the platform itself. Crypto, you hide those transactions so no one can see the name, no one can see the money, no one can see anything on that platform. It's hidden from the authorities. And that's why they're pushing for the CBDCs, because the central bank digital currencies will be the opposite of crypto. It is money assigned to you and you alone. And no one else can use that money but you. And that should make a very interesting development should the central banks be able to pull it off. But the World Economic Forum has been at it for months, for years. They are really pushing for this platform. And once they succeed in getting governments and companies and countries to legislate that, that means Big Brother really controls you. So if you're seen as a subversive individual, if you're seen as a person going against the establishment, they just switch off your money and you are basically messed up. All right, let me very quickly finish with the last section. The agriculture sector, agroponics, hydroponics, and even aeroponics are completely revolutionizing the agricultural sector. This is a very interesting sector. You can have a room this small, like the room I'm in right now, and you could grow tons of food just in this room using aeroponics or agroponics, because agroponics are literally planting food on long poles with specialized planting. So the plants hang off that. I've seen amazing things. Here in Zambia, we have already seen it happening. Fish farming, chicken rearing, incubation is standard features. This means the price of fish is going to drop as more fish farms come around. This has already happened in the chicken space. And anybody remember how 30 years ago, chickens were the most expensive form of protein? They were a delicacy. You eat chicken like, wow, you guys are rich. Now, incubation technology is more readily available today than ever before, and thus means now more food will be made available in cheaper and more efficient ways. So agroponics, hydroponics, and aeroponics are the big thing today, and they are really disrupting farming. As we go, you will see that farming will change more and more, okay? So here's the thing. All these things I've told you are disrupting technology, and disrupting life. And that's the reason why Apple, Tesla, Google, Facebook, Meta, and other tech companies are always on the cutting edge of innovation, and they spend millions of dollars. In fact, to be honest, billions of dollars in R&D, or research and development, to stay ahead of their peers and promote disruptive thinking. So in my next transmission, I'll look at the 7 jobs that are going to disappear in the next 5 years. Totally disappear. So that should be an interesting topic for you. But what I want to tell you is that for any one of you watching this presentation today, really think about this, okay? Really get yourself in place, get yourself ready, because we live in a time when things just aren't the same anymore. So let me quickly read comments here and close. Good morning from Clinton. Then Dr. Ngoza says, village banking too is disrupting the banks. That's right. So you see, what is happening on this one, Dr. Ngoza, is that the mobile money companies are very smart. So they're creating wallets where village banking can put their money in those wallets and operate that entire thing. You remember in the old days, village banking, well, now, village banking, they have a trunk, 3 people have the keys and money is in there. And so there's a lot of money in these money boxes across the place. But what the village banking model has done to disrupt that through the mobile money is that mobile money has given the same power and said, that trunk, don't keep a trunk in your market there. Let's move your money into a wallet. And the same thing you do, 3 people have keys, we can give you that. So they're giving the chairman, the secretary, and the treasurer access, and and 2 people from the so-called normal group. So all 5 have to approve any money going out. Money going in, no problem. Money going out, all 5 have to approve. It's so powerful that it protects the money. And a lot of mobile platforms are already adapting to this. I'm aware, for example, Tenga in Atlas Mara, what's their names? MTN have exactly such platforms designed to deal with the so-called village banking. So you can see, and they're faster to set up, very quick to set up compared to your typical bank account. So this again is very disruptive, Dr. Ngoza, as you say. Okay, then we've got a comment from, of course, Dr. Ngoza again. Cash still very big in rural areas and compounds. I wonder how they will be affected. They will move them to USSD. This is going to happen. Just keep watching. The biggest nightmare with the rural areas has been the cash, what they call the float. A lot of rural outposts don't have enough float. So the question is, how do you get people to go on mobile money if they can't be paid or receive their money because the agencies don't have enough float? So that's been their perennial problem. I see a solution where a number of these powerful big mobile companies may go into the option where they actually kind of partner in a much more advanced way, like the bank. They call them the service banks. If you notice, they are still mobile money, but they're not just the normal agency, they're like a bank, so mobile bank. So that's one of the solutions, but they're still working on the logistics around it. But I know for a fact that this is really going to be a game changer. And yes, they are going to work very hard to get rid of cash in the rural areas. That's one of the reasons, Coach Ngoza, why Google, Meta, all these guys are investing so much on the internet. They're going to lay those cables and those transmitters all across, even places where there's nobody. And the idea is very simple. They want to create a neural network. That's it. And it is very advantageous for them. Remember, advertising is key here. Uncle Steve says, awesome. Business that focus on human interaction will need to change competitive strategies or differentiate and diversify to offer service to other service offerings. Tell the Yamas in the village that their nephew no longer has a famous or divisive bank book. Absolutely. There was that time, I remember. Very, very interesting concept. And I like what Inspector Kama is saying here. He's saying village banking has been redefined as crowd investing and is global as it can be accessed online. Good, because I'm participating in one global one based in South Africa. Very, very true. This is actually also changing things. And crowdfunding, you see now, is getting to a point where it really is creating disruption. I mean, one of my favorite TV series around the life of Jesus is called The Chosen. The Chosen was able to raise $10 million through crowdfunding to do their first season and second season. That broke the record in the history of a crowd-funded TV show. So it was never funded by Hollywood. And if you watch The Chosen, I think for me, it is more biblically accurate and there is no pressure politically because of the kind of funding that they used. So a lot of movie makers have been using this model. A lot of projects have used this model of crowdfunding. Our very own Ubuntu is crowdfunded, and they're now working with all these platforms locally to build that crowdfunding. So the key is just to have a very transparent and open way in which you can get this to happen. The technology that we're sitting on is happening. And here is Inspector Kama speaking about the NFT, where he actually did his first transaction. Good for him. And it's a very interesting space we're all in. And what matters most is every one of us to become abreast with the disruptive nature technology has presented. I assure you, once we see certain opportunities open up in this country, it will change the game. Let me tell you, that's the reason why I have become a payment gateway aggregator. This week, we're done with all our processes. We will begin to aggressively market to help entrepreneurs and businesses be paid online across 33 African countries. So I just have that gateway. It's just been sorted out. Things have changed, ladies and gentlemen. You can get paid. We have a solution, very powerful. This is what the technology is allowing people like you and me to do. And so on that note, 7 jobs that are going to be completely phased out within the next 5 years. Thank you, and yes, indeed. So to all of you who are watching us by way of this platform, may God richly bless you. Tomorrow we have Aunt Sylvia. It's Tuesday. I'll find out from her if she is still able to do it, because it's uncharacteristically early for her. It's like 6:30. So I'll need to find out if she'll be available or if we need to stand in for her in view of what she's trying to achieve over there. So on that note, everybody have a great day, and we'll catch you again tomorrow. I'll make sure I share these on your platforms. If you are subscribed, make sure you also make sure you're part of this. Take care and have a great day. God bless.